welcome to one of our most exciting webinar on IIMTT, that is International Institute of Montessori Teachers Training. And hey, I am Teresa. I am the Academic and Administrative Manager here, and we have with us our very favorite Hema Shah. She is a lecturer and course coordinator in Kenya, and we have been, I have especially had a wonderful experience with Hema because she is so knowledgeable. She has lots and lots of ideas, and regarding Montessori teachers training, how to handle materials, and a lot of things. So I get we all are the ones who have joined in today. Would like to know about Montessori, or who are aware about Montessori, and still there is an urge to know more about Montessori and IIMTT, how they are associated, how they are connected, how we both connect. So it will be a wonderful session, I guess. Yes, Hema?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Okay. So before I start asking you questions, can you just introduce, I have although introduced, a little bit about something about yourself?
Absolutely. So I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I've been in the Montessori profession for 25 years. Absolutely love it. I've taught for a couple of years, and I've been a lecturer and course coordinator for over 10 years now. So very much involved in Montessori and absolutely love it with all my heart. I'm currently the course coordinator and lecturer at the Oak House Montessori Teacher Training College, which is based in Nairobi, Kenya. And of course, we are affiliated with our International Institute of Montessori Teacher Training. We do award an international certificate from the Institute of International Montessori Teacher Training, as well as get a certificate from Focus Awards UK, which is an NVQ, National Vocational Qualification, Level 5. So I'm pretty chuffed, I must say, that we do offer a very highly recognized qualification.
So let me ask you my first question to Hema. Like, what initially drew you to Montessori method, and how has your understanding evolved over the years?
So basically, 25 years ago, when Montessori was relatively very new in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And what intrigued me about the Montessori method essentially was the freedom that the children get from the prepared environment that they are, put into. So what happened is I went to a Montessori school in Nairobi and actually volunteered there for a whole term. And what really, really drew me to the Montessori practice, so it was basically how we prioritize independence with the children, the freedom that the children get, of course, within a structured boundary, which is Montessori. And most importantly, what really struck me was the beautiful, gorgeous materials that we have in Montessori, right down from the initial practical life, which is just spooning, all the way down to the division exercise, and how we use all these gorgeous materials to teach children. And children, as we know, are highly hands-on learners. They go through their sensitive periods. And because of that, I was really, really drawn to Montessori. And hence, I then applied to do an online course at that time. Nothing much was available in Nairobi, Kenya. I had to go to the UK, London, to do my workshops. And voila, here I am 25 years, still very much passionate about Montessori.
Wow, that was a wonderful experience which you have shared. It really is overwhelming, I guess, definitely for you. 25 years is a huge journey you have come across in Montessori. So now let me get back to another question, which really triggers at times. When I interact with you often, How would you describe the core difference between Montessori and conventional early childhood education to a new parent or a teacher? Now, we have a lot of members over here who are teachers over here. They are ongoing, they are going to be teachers, they are undergoing training, and we also have experienced teachers as well. So, what would be your insight about this?
So basically, what I would try to explain to a new parent about the Montessori method is that the Montessori is seen as child-driven, not teacher-driven. Montessori is more allowing the child to be independent within the structured boundary within the Montessori classroom. Montessori allows free choice of activity, of course within the structured boundary, and more importantly, the teacher is an observer. So rather being in control of the classroom all the time, which I feel a lot of the other methods tend to do, Montessori allows the teacher to observe the child. She allows the child to work at his own pace. It is self-paced and it is very deeply focused. So the teacher acts as a guide, she's not overbearing. She allows the child to work at his own pace in the beautifully structured environment that we have. What is also something that I would try and urge parents is Montessori works in a very quiet way. If you walk into a Montessori classroom, you'll see every child is so involved in his or her own work, perhaps working on her own or his own, or in small groups of 3 or 4. But it's very quiet and every child is beautifully engaged. We work in hushed tones, so we don't hear that teacher screaming across, a group of 15, 20 children all the time. And you see the child working in a very constructive way. So compared to other curriculums, which is more adult-led, it is more focused on the teacher, but the Montessori method of teaching allows a child of freedom. Of course, within the structured boundary, the child is always being observed by the teacher, and the teacher then sets her own schedule for each and every individual child to know that, right, okay, so-and-so is now ready to be introduced to the sounds, or so-and-so is now ready to perhaps be even introduced to division. So I feel the way I would try and explain this setup of the Montessori to a parent is that we're very individual and the child is taken at his or her own pace.
Right.
Yeah, that's my take on it.
So, regarding Montessori, Hema, there are a lot of misconceptions, right? So, one of the most, in our books, right, in our IIMTT books, it's clearly mentioned, right? So the misconceptions, one of the biggest misconceptions among people is, we let the children do whatever they feel like. So we teachers not at all, wanting to know what, the children are doing. Neither they want the children to be together in groups to do various activities. So I guess, there are people who have not gone to the depths of Montessori. So when they do not go to the depths of Montessori, they actually don't know why we give individual activities to the students. Why the child is actually how the child is actually becoming independent while using those materials on his or her own. And then there are various other activities also, wherein the group activities are there, wherein children actually get to understand, work together. So unless and until the people know the depths of Montessori, so I guess there will always be a myth and misconceptions about Montessori, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So one of my questions often I in my Viva, I asked few of the students, and I guess they might be laughing now. And this question comes to your mind: which Montessori material do you find most powerful for children, and why?
I love each and every Montessori material in my classroom. However, of course, everyone will have some favorites. And I can see right behind you, Teresa, I can see the Pink Tower.
Pink Tower, I get it.
Yeah. So Pink Tower is one of the first materials we would introduce a child to in the sensorial module. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. It comes under the perception of dimension materials, the visual perception of dimension materials. And most importantly, I think when a child works with the Pink Tower, it is, what is he learning from it? He's learning maths in terms of the dimensions. He's learning maths in terms of the weight of the material. He's learning maths again in terms of how to arrange the tower from the biggest to the smallest. He's also getting language indirectly in terms of big, small, large, and the comparatives and superlatives like big, bigger, biggest, small, smaller, smallest. So what I love about the Pink Tower is, first of all, when it's brought down to the mat, the child does 10 trips back and forth. And the beautiful coordination he gets when he or she is bringing the material down to the mat, the balance the child gets. Remember, this is about a 2.5-year-old child. And he's bringing the material back and forth. What is he getting from all of this? Apart from maths and indirect language, he's getting order. He's getting coordination. He's getting independence, right? So That's what I love about it. And when he's working with the material, it has its own control of error. So when he's building the tower, if the tower topples over, the teacher is not around him as a helicopter and correcting his errors all the time, saying, wrong, incorrect. He builds a tower again, and he can do it over again and again.
Yes.
To ensure that it is built. So apart from just the direct aims, he's also getting a lot of indirect aims. So which is one of my favorite materials because it is a start of Montessori learning. And the Pink Tower, I think, with any non-Montessori student or parent or teacher, the Pink Tower is very popularly connected to Montessori.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually, when many of my students, I hear it over Viva for the other partner students also, my internal students, in-house students also. I guess Pink Tower is everyone's favorite. I guess, first of all, just looking at the color, probably it is everyone's favorite because of the color pink, which I think gets attracted, and definitely the features, while building a tower also is probably one of the features, you enjoy doing it. And definitely if you see as a teacher's perspective, there are a lot of things which, you get to learn or teach as a teacher to the child. And the child also understands these things, while they are handling these materials. Okay, so what are some of the ways or digital tools technology can support Montessori teachers without compromising the philosophy?
Good question. We all live in the new tech era. And technology, simple things like WhatsApp are all very much a part of our lives now.
Right.
And whether we like it or not, I'm very conventional, by the way, but of course I've had to learn, I've had to evolve too. I do not disagree with teachers using such tools for their own learning curves. I do not disagree with a teacher being able to perhaps access, learning tools for herself in terms of how to prepare the curriculum, how to write reports, how to address the children, perhaps in a group setting, how to write reports, how to even find herself in terms of learning new instruments by doing online courses. For the teacher, I have no problem with that, because that's what where we are. And a lot of us use Chat GPT. It's okay. It's something we have to accept now. Of course, me being old school, I had to really try and understand how people are just now not using their minds anymore, and everything is just readily available. Anyway, so that's okay. I think that it's okay for the teachers to use these tools. But as for the child in the classroom, I don't think the children should be exposed to a lot of screen time. Right. Because, when the child is being exposed to screen time, what are we really doing to this child? We're confusing the child. There's too much flashing lights. There's a lot of unpredictability. There's a lot of increased brainstem activity for these young children who are from 2 to 6. So for the children, it's a complete no-no for me, for them to be exposed to screens. Allow them to work with the beautiful hands-on Montessori materials that we have. Allow them to read books. Allow them to look at the pictures and, allow them to say, right, what do you think is happening in this picture? In that way, the child's cognitive mind is working way more than the screens would. So again, 2 schools of thought here. Do we allow screens within the classroom? Do we not allow? But where I'm coming from, no. For the children, it's a no-no, but for the teacher, it's a yes.
Okay. So when it comes to, technology, when it comes to, understanding digital tools, digital applications, online study. So do you think online can, nowadays there are a lot of platforms which help in upgrading the teachers with a lot of information. So is anywhere this associated with you?
Online learning?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. I mean, even if you look at IIMTT, we have this beautiful platform. It's called the Athenium Global Platform, right? Mm-hmm. Where all our students have this beautiful platform where they can refer to all the notes, the theory notes, and then you give them a quiz. So online learning, yes, it's definitely something that I will accept for adults.
Yes,
as we do with the Athenium Global Platform and the IIMTT overall. Yes.
True. So, can you share a story, as you have shared that you have completed your almost 25 years of your journey with Montessori? It's a huge, long way you have come across. So, can you share a story or a moment that deeply impacted you as a Montessorian?
Lots of moments, obviously, but what really caught my eye one day is I was in the classroom. Mm-hmm. I used to teach 3.5 to 4.5-year-old children. And there was this little girl who was about 4 years old. I had already introduced the number rods to her on a previous occasion. And one fine day, as you know, we give them the freedom within the structured boundary. She went and picked up the number rods from the shelf and went to the mat. The 10 trips back and forth, as we know, from rod 1 all the way to the rod of 10, and arranged them on the mat. I was within the classroom of all the 15 children that I had, and I was sort of behind her, so I was observing everything that she was doing. She arranged the rods in order from 1 all the way to 10. And then she started counting, as we do, we trace, right?
Right.
And what really I just loved it was when she went to the rod of 7, 8, 9, and 10, she actually had to get up and stretch her arm all the way across.
Yes.
To trace the numbers all the way from 7 and then 8 and then 9 and then 10. So it indirectly the child is already learning that 1 is way in quantity, 1 is smaller than 10.
10.
So it's absolutely beautiful the way she worked with the number rods. And then she took the rod of 1 and placed it within all the gaps. Mm-hmm. So what was this indirectly teaching her? that every number grows by 1.
Yes.
And then Teresa, she glanced at me and she looked at the red rods of the sensorial. So I just nodded my head in silence. As you know, Montessori teachers work in hushed tones and very silently. I just nodded my head. She went and got the red rods and combined the two materials, whereby she put the rod of 1 with the red rod of 1, the rod of 2 and the red rod of 2, in complete unison, whereby the two rods were connected. And then she had this utter joyous moment within herself that she discovered that, wow, these two rods are pretty much the same. And then she started returning them back. And I'm not kidding you, this must have taken a good half an hour of utter concentration, independence, great hand-eye coordination, great general knowledge of numbers. And again, the indirect preparations, indirect aims that we have for the sensorial material. So for me, that is a moment I will never, ever forget. A little girl of about 4 years old working with these two materials. Yeah.
So when this, when you share this, I just, it comes to my mind that how not only teachers are observant, but the kids are highly observant. They observe everything around the environment, their environment. They observe their teachers, each and every day. So they understand what actually the teachers are feeling on that particular day even. So one small, incident, it is really, really close to my heart, and I do share it with my IIMTT students as well. It's nothing related to Montessori, but it was a class where I was in, and it was a nursery class. Can you imagine nursery kids? They are so tiny, and the class was going on, and I remember it was Teachers' Day. So they had just come in. They did not know what is a teacher. They did not know that it is a Teachers' Day. But then it was just coming to school in a colored dress, and a teacher is nicely dressed up, and some celebration is going on. That's it. That was what they knew. And suddenly one little tiny one comes down and puts a small nail paint on my table. And I looked at the nail paint and I said, "What is this?" And he said, "This is for you." And I said, "What will I do with this?" He said, "This is for you." And he insisted continuously that this is for you, this is for you. And, I said, "No, I cannot take it." And he started crying, "You have to take it." So I thought probably the parents, because it was Teachers' Day, they thought that, So when the parent came in, and I was just handing over to him, to the parent, I gave the nail paint to the parent, and I said that, "See, probably by mistake he has got it down to school, so you can keep it." His father told me, "No, ma'am, he has noticed your nail paints being changed every week." So he forced me to go to the shop, and he asked me to get this particular color for you, because often he has seen you wearing the pink color. So had touched my heart. It has been years back, but still, till today, I cannot forget. It was my first Teachers' Day. And it's been almost 19 years now, and I still remember my first Teachers' Day because of that very special moment. So kids are really, really important, very special, very observant, and you never know what are they up to, what are they observing. So we teachers have to, be very, very, active, even proactive while we are in the class, right? Okay. So my next question for you is, What keeps you passionate about Montessori education after 25 years also? And still, do you want to continue with the process?
I'm a Montessorian by heart and soul. I love the Montessori method of education. I believe in it wholeheartedly. So what keeps me passionate is because I have seen children evolve through Montessori. I have seen the transformative impact it has had on children. And not just children, also the teachers. So what I truly believe in it, and what convinces me every single day is when I see a child unfold himself, realizing, oh, by the way, 1 + 1 is 2, or anything for that matter. Or when I see him doing a practical sorting exercise, and then I see him, if I put 10 red beads and 10 blue beads, I see him counting. So I understand that Montessori is not just about academics as well. It's about the child's own knowledge. It's about that beautiful brainwave that the child has of connecting the entire Montessori syllabus. What I also love is Maria Montessori's philosophy of children. She says that children go through sensitive periods, and it is very true. We know the sensitive periods for those of us who are familiar with Montessori, right?
Yeah.
We have the sensitive periods for all the areas that the children go through in terms of sensitive periods to movement, sensitive periods to order, sensitive periods to language, and so on and so forth. I have seen that work. I have seen that come to light with my children. And whatever Maria's Montessori's philosophies were, we can say over 100 years ago, are still practiced today. Children have not evolved. We are now not computer geeks anymore, I think, from when we were then. Children remain the same. So we need to learn to respect that. We need to learn to respect the whole child. And the community of practice that we do within the Montessori classroom. We have vertical grouping in a typical setup, where the older child works with the younger child. The older child teaches the younger child. So all of these beautiful things that I see working through Montessori has kept me passionate about it. And hence, I think I also love why I now lecture, because I want to bring these beautiful teachers out into the world with some semblance of Montessori values and ideas, which they can then practice, even if they don't go into Montessori schools, but they can have an ensemble of Montessori values and practice, which they can hopefully introduce to these schools that they go to.
Yeah, definitely. So wonderful. Same, it goes for me as well, because Montessori has been something really close to my heart. And working with little kids years after years, and when you as a teacher turn to be a Montessorian, so you understand the depth. Not only it's from the bookish knowledge, whatever you are having, but because you have worked with the children and you understand them very closely, you can associate, you can get connected. And when you feel connected, you can teach in a better manner to the teachers who are going to become teachers in the future. How the kids get associated, how the kids get connected, what are the activities they like, how they enjoy. You have to just observe, and then, you cannot just stop in between and say, no, you cannot do it. You need to observe, then slowly again repeat the activity in front of them, and they quickly observe that what went wrong and they'll correct it. You don't have to actually just stop them and say, no, you haven't done it correct. This is incorrect. This is one thing, we all teachers need to understand. We cannot just stop the children from doing it. They immediately lose interest in that. Okay. Now let me ask you something. As a part of IMTT, what long-term goal or innovations are you most excited about in Montessori teachers training space?
So the long-term goals I think I would personally love is to enhance the reach of Montessori in Kenya and globally too. Kenya is essentially historically British colonized, perhaps, if you want to say colonized. We follow the British national curriculum. We also have an element of American learnings. We have all these British national curriculums, like the early years foundation stages or the British national curriculum, which is mostly the embodiment of the schools that we have in Nairobi and Kenya overall. What I would love is to try and implement Montessori teaching within these other elements of other curriculums, whereby we can take the best of all. Because it's not just Montessori that's wonderful. I'm sure there's certain aspects of perhaps the EYFS or the British National Curriculum or the American teaching methodologies that are wonderful too. But I would love for people to try and accept Montessori a bit more, especially in Kenya. I would love to integrate the 2 or 3 types of curriculum within one structure and take the best of it all. And as we know, Montessori is very hands-on.
Yes.
So we can have, for example, just something simple like the sandpaper numbers or the sandpaper letters or even the pink tower incorporated in all these other areas or curriculums. So that's what I would absolutely love to do. And I would also like to clear this misconception that Montessori is for slow learners. Montessori is, because Maria Montessori herself started with children from the slums.
Yes.
You know, if you go into her philosophy and her history. So there's this huge misconception that Montessori is for slow learners, but it is not, because Montessori goes all the way, let's be very honest, to teach children all the way up to 7 or 8 years old. We teach them division. We teach them multiplication. So that's what I would love to incorporate in Kenya and internationally as well.
Okay. In what ways has your partnership with IIMTT supported or enhanced your journey as a Montessorian?
I've definitely grown a lot with IIMTT as a Montessori teacher and lecturer. You have been absolutely great. You've given me all the support you need. I know there have been times, Teresa, when you and I have had, like, come on, Teresa, how is this possible? I can't do 5 videos, things like that. But I think you've been a great partner with us. I have personally grown a lot in terms of learning a bit more in terms of not just the mandatory Montessori way of teaching. The way you've incorporated story time, the way you've incorporated the art files that we have to do, and the way all my interns and students have a whole, I'm not kidding you, a whole plethora of assignments that they need to do. But I have learned through that as well. I've become a better observer of teachers, perhaps, of interns. I have learned through observing them of how story time should be done, or how we can address, children in a group setting, or how we could perhaps introduce a Montessori material in terms of a variation or an extension. So obviously, I've definitely grown in my own way with your partnership and your mentorship as well, Teresa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hema. Okay, yeah, we are basically here, to support each and every partner we have. And till date, the number of partners we have, I think, fingers crossed, we are really, really working quite well, because it's a partnership. So when we call it a partner, definitely we have to help each other out, right? So be it from focus awards, be it from audio visuals, be it from Viva. So there has been a lot of things which our partners have come across with, and we have definitely tried our best, to give it to each and every partner from our end. Okay, so my next question would be, what do you hope future generations of Montessori teachers will carry forward from your work?
I would say that they must have that deep commitment to Montessori. They must believe in Maria Montessori's methodologies of teaching. They've got to understand it. They've also got to understand how it helps the children overall, because at the end of the day, we're here for the children.
True.
I'm such a firm believer in the Montessori methodology of teaching. And by the way, all of Maria's Montessori's entire methodology came through observation. She observed the children, which is what I would love my future teachers who are going out there into the market to take with them. They must take with them the essence of Montessori. They must take with them all its observation tools. They must take with them the humility that teachers need. For example, I do a whole chapter on teacher. And I think the first question I ask them is, what do you think? What do you remember about your teacher?
Yes.
And a lot of the times I get a lot of negative remarks about all of these teachers. And I think that is exactly who I don't want you to become. I want you to go out there. Yes. I want you to go out there and give all these beautiful little souls a great memory of you as Miss Hema or Miss Teresa. That I remember this teacher was compassionate. She was kind. She was not shouting. She understood me. Things like that. So that is what I hope all my interns, my students will take from my teaching, apart from the the academic modules that they take with them. Yes, that knowledge has to be there, but overall they must think of themselves as teachers and how their approach to children will be. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you are absolutely right, because the moment you feel from within that you are connected to them, that's the way how you are going to respond to them. So if you are not going to get it connected to kids, you won't be able to respond to them. So it's the same for us as well. We adults also, I know you are a trainer, you're a Montessorian, you are having students. I'm the same, I do have a lot of students. We have to be compassionate. We have to be understanding. We have to know about our students from the depth, so that each and every student from us, they learn, they understand that our teachers were like this. They ignored things when we are handling adults, when we are having young girls. So there are a lot of things we have to come across. If we can miss upon this, we can avoid them, we can just understand them and just make them feel relaxed. These students, when they become teachers, they will actually understand the situations of the young minds, and also how, they get associated with their families, their family members. So many things go around, right? I do remember one instance where, a child in my class would never hardly speak. She never spoke in the class. She was not at all communicative. So I used to wonder, like, why, after observing so many, like I had almost 20-25 children in my classroom, that one little child would always, I used to knock down my mind, why the child was like this. So slowly and gradually, I started talking to the child. Often it helps when you start speaking to the kids. When they are having little, they have their snacks, when they are playing. So you just try interacting, playing games with them, and you try understanding the situation. And I understood that the child was actually facing a problem at home because the parents were having issues at home. So this automatically what happens, the child within becomes, they cannot respond to situations at home. So they become slowly and gradually, they become quiet. So teachers have to be very observant. So after observing each and every child, whatever the activities they are doing, how they are responding to you, how they are responding to the peers, and all these things, when the teachers observe, automatically teachers can understand and reciprocate accordingly with the child. So many teachers, so many of you are here, young girls, young minds. Hema has crossed her 25 years long journey. I have done my 19 years of long journey, and still we enjoy Montessori. And because we are here as a medium, which is IIMTT, which we will definitely want to grow more, definitely want us to, connect more and understand that, how Montessori is important, right? So, any questions from your side, if you would like to ask, you can use the chat box and we'll try to address your question. So let us see the participants who are there. I can see Sangeeta has written, hi ma'am. Okay, Shushmita is there. Chinchina International Preschool is there. Someone from Mukundapur is also there. Someone has written, incredible. Okay, thank you so much. So if you have any sort of questions in your mind, you can quickly write down in your chat and we would love to answer to your question.
All these people who have joined us today, thank you so much. And I hope you can see the passion that Teresa and I have for Montessori.
Yeah, definitely. Right? We are passionate people working together on the same goal, right? Towards the same goal, definitely. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, everyone. If you for joining in. Again, very soon we are going to have another webinar. Till then, let's be all on our toes and set another, another level towards Montessori teachers training, right? So thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.